The creator of Dilbert believes that Republicans will be hunted down if Joe Biden wins the election. Now, this is Scott Adams in a series of tweets because, of course, he warned that if Biden wins, there's a good chance that a lot of people will be dead within the year. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. That's exactly what he said. Now, I think about that and I think, well, yeah, I mean, if Donald Trump continues to not do anything about the coronavirus, yeah, I mean, already 126,000 people have died from this disease on Donald Trump's watch. I'm not blaming Donald Trump for the existence of the coronavirus. Don't don't think I'm doing that, but I do blame him for not taking the correct actions soon enough. He should have, downplaying the seriousness of this virus and not setting a good example when it comes to masks. And also, you can blame the Republican Party and the Democratic Party for the pretty poor response when it comes to taking care of regular people and their financial needs during this crisis. But Scott Adams, he's not talking about the coronavirus. No, he's talking about, I mean, I don't even know, really. So let's go to the next tweet where he doubled down by saying, police will stand down and Republicans will be hunted. Oh, the police is going to, they're going to stand down, right? You should probably ask those peaceful protesters that keep getting gassed or keep getting attacked by heavily armed officers. Why don't you ask the unarmed black people that are still being shot by police? I mean, this is crazy talk. Nobody wants to hunt down Republicans and kill them. If anything, that seems to be projection because I see a lot of, stories of, far right wingers saying, "Oh, we're going to hunt down Democrats." See a lot of that, but not a lot of that on this side, generally. But look, to say that this is a thing, right? It's just irresponsible fear mongering, completely. This guy, and what's unfortunate is this guy has a platform, right, in which to spew nonsense, and he's misusing that platform to say things that are completely and utterly false. Nobody's coming for you, dude. You want to talk about being canceled because you have, some pretty garbage views. Well, okay, that's fine. I mean, you can complain about that, but that's not the same as being targeted and murdered, which is happening both to black people and white people by police, of course, but disproportionately to black people. So now he responded to some people pointing that out and saying, hey, wait a minute, that makes no sense. Why are you saying these crazy things? By citing a woman he had interviewed as evidence that Republicans will be persecuted under a Biden administration. Quote, just interviewed a woman who was fired for suspicion of liking President Trump. Suspicion, fired. Now, look, I'm going to go on a limb here, right? And assume that possibility. I'm going to play devil's advocate. Assume what he's saying is true, right? So now in this country, we've given corporations the ability to fire people for basically any reason, right? And, for the most part, corporations will fire people for any reason that they can come up with. So now, let me ask, who is it that pushes those policies, right? That are anti-worker? Is it the left or is it the right? Let's think about that for a minute, right? Now, this also might blow Scott's mind, but did you know that transgender people can get fired for being transgender, or at least they did before the Supreme Court stepped in? Gay people could too. I know, right? I mean, crazy how that could happen. Weird. And yet Scott seems to think, oh, no, it's the conservatives, it's the Trump supporters that are being targeted. That, if you like Donald Trump, then you can get fired, right? Hey, Scott, were you against gay and trans people not being fired for being gay and trans? I mean, look, I don't I don't like the idea of being fired for liking a specific politician, right? I'd be pretty mad if somebody got fired for liking Bernie Sanders, for example. I like Bernie Sanders, but I seem to have the suspicion, like I do with a lot of the right wing, that there is a little bit more to this story. I mean, for example, I've seen a lot of instances where somebody who is pro-Trump and has Trump-like views, right? They will not just say like, "Oh, Trump 2020," right? So if I have an employee and they're like, Trump 2020, I'm like, "Yeah, you're kind of an idiot, but I'm not going to fire you for that," right? Yeah, we have a difference of opinion. That's cool. That's fine. But if this guy suddenly goes on his public page and goes on a racist screed against people or threatens violence, which we have seen before. And by the way, this also happened in a recent video that right wingers are bringing up now, where there was a woman who said she would, threaten to stab Trump supporters. Don't do that. She got fired, right? And so, yeah, if turns out if you make threats and you go on racist screeds against people, then these companies, if somebody goes to your boss and says, "Hey, look at this horrible tweet where they're threatening people," well, then, yeah, the boss is going to fire you because it looks bad on the company having you as an employee. And so I'm pretty sure it seems like Scott is leaving out some context here about this story because I don't buy it, because I have seen in too many instances where conservatives will leave out some of the context, be like, "Can you believe they got fired for being pro-Trump?" Yeah, but then you leave out the part where they possibly went and said some really racist, hateful things towards possible customers for that company and made them look bad. So yeah, I can kind of understand that, right? That's it, right? I get why some people are pretty uncomfortable with people going to the boss, right? To their boss about that, because there's always that danger, I guess, that it could be weaponized in order to just, fire people that they don't like, right? But especially since like Photoshop is a thing, and they could definitely do, or even deep fakes are a thing now. And so that is stuff to be worried about. There is a slippery slope argument. But right now, nothing that Scott said is an example of a widespread effort to target conservatives for being conservative, right? I mean, you want to talk about cancel culture? Okay. I think it's a bit of a misnomer, right? Because right now I see this as people getting mad at other people for saying shitty things. And I'm 100% in favor of calling people out, as I said, but I also do believe in redemption, right? I don't believe that people should be canceled forever for a mistake or a bad tweet or a terrible take or a blog post from 20 years ago or whatever, as long as they've grown and changed as a person. Making mistakes, of course, is part of growth for every person. And I feel like most progressives probably didn't start out as progressive. And through their own processes of discovery, of course, gaining knowledge, that's when they became more progressive. But that said, Scott Adams seems unhinged. Just unhinged. Like, this is weird. Ain't nobody coming after you or your hee-haw ass. All right? All we want to do is we want to give people health care, higher wages, a better life. We want to protect the most vulnerable communities from getting discriminated against, because that does happen a lot in this country. Now, that is going to involve rich people becoming slightly less rich and others maybe having to share some of their power with those who don't have any of that power. And maybe, I get the feeling that maybe that's what Scott fears the most about someone like Trump losing. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.